Hello all. So today we are going to discuss about defect and change request. So imagine this scenario. So it's UAT. The end users are testing the enhancements that you've built into the application, and then there's a list sent, and then that list says there's 10 defects. Then you look into that list and you figure out that seven of them they are not defects. Uh, when I say the seven of them are defects, to expound further, the business requirement document and the system design document says we need a radio button, and then the developer has coded for a radio button. But still, that's being pointed out and it's listed as a defect. Is this a defect? The system design document and the business requirement document says we need a radio button. The application has a radio button in there. Is this a defect? No. But then it's still listed as a defect. And what, as a business analyst, what are you going to do next? Now there's a series of there's a series of entities that are listed as defect, which they are not. They are not defects. So what's going to be a next step? Now, when this happens, as a business analyst, you have to wear the referee cap. You have to respond to that email, or you have to respond to that defect claim. You have to respond by saying that these are not defects. In fact, these are all change requests, or these are all conflicting requirements that that's coming up during UAT, or these are missed requirements, but they are not defect. So if that requirement was not even there, that would be missed requirements. If they're gonna say checkbox and then they're gonna come back and say no, it's a radio button, that's a conflicting requirement. Uh, and if they're going to acknowledge that, okay, we said checkbox, but we don't want a checkbox, we need a radio button, that's a change request. So you have to respond to that email. It might be an email. I think it's most probably that's going to come in an email saying that these are all defects. So as a business analyst, you have to wear your referee cap, and then you have to say these are all not defects. Line item 1, 3, 5, 7, they are all not defect. They are all, so line item 1 is a change request, 3 is the missed requirement, 5 is a conflicting requirement, but then they are all not defects. This is something that you have to do as a business analyst, and it's your primary responsibility. I've seen many business analysts not do this. The reason being they want to look good in front of the client, or they're just reluctant to speak up, or they're tight-lipped, which is not really good, because over a period of time when this happens, the developers and testers are going to get frustrated. When there is a defect in the UAT environment, it looks very bad on the tester, and it's going to look bad on the developer, because there's a problem in the developer's code, the tester missed it, and then the end users are finding it out, the client, they're finding it out in the UAT environment. So this looks bad on the developers and testers. And when I code something correctly as a developer, and then someone is going to come to me and say this is wrong, but still I've coded it correctly, I'll be pretty upset. So you don't want your team to be upset. And at the same time, this is even more important. This is even more critical. I can't stress this more. The business, they genuinely feel it is a defect. So we need the business's acknowledgement that some of the items in there, they are not defects, they are conflicting requirements or change requests or missed requirements. they have to acknowledge it. That's even more important, because they might feel you guys are coding it wrongly, you guys are writing the software in a incorrect manner. So you need the acknowledgement from the business. So this is another very important reason why you have to wear the referee cap, and then you have to let them know that it is in fact not a defect. And you should not be tight-lipped as a business analyst. You should not be nervous, tentative. You have to uh, respond intelligently and politely, and let them and convey it to them in a very political correct fashion, in a very political correct, a politically correct fashion, that it is in fact not a defect and it is something else but not a defect. This is very, very crucial as a for you to do as a business analyst. An effective business analyst will almost always do this. You might think by doing this the business might get irritated, but it's not the case. Most of the time they'll be able to acknowledge that the mistake is in fact in their